What's up? What's up? The Earlverse is back after the OJ tour on Sunday night, which was a smoshing success. Thank you very much to all those who joined in and watched it. I know at times the camera work was a little dodgy, but I'm a one-man operation. So I do what I can. Had a fun time. Don't know how many of those we're going to do in the future. I mean, of course, living in Los Angeles, there's probably a fair amount of things that I could do in that regard. You know, the Manson tour. But the Manson tour is kind of spread out. What up? What up, Sour Milk? You know, like the hairstylist who got killed that night. His salon is still on Fairfax and Melrose. But yeah, rough week. I mean, R.I.P. Richard Simmons, R.I.P. Dr. Ruth. And even today, if you're a fan of the movie The Star Chamber, which I am, the guy who played the vengeful dad, James Sicken, who is in a lot of things. I mean, he's absolutely one of those guys who you might recognize the face but not know the name. He died today. So if you, I think he was in like Law and Order and stuff, a Hill Street Blues, I think, as well. I mean, the Star Chamber is kind of a off the grid movie if you've never seen it. Yeah, the kid from Alf died walking his dog, someone said. So rough. And today, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant died. That's Kobe Bryant's kid, Kobe Bryant's father. So that's a rough one. Of course, I'm old enough to remember him in the 70s, you know, where he was playing with guys like Spencer Haywood, Bob McAdoo, Billy Pultz, the Whopper. Um, and you know what's weird is we haven't had a pro wrestler die in a while. I mean, I'm glad we haven't, but you know, usually a couple of them die a year. So been a rough, and of course, the president almost got killed. Um, you know, Saturday, literally an inch higher temple, and his head blows up on live television. Of course, I've been on a Twitter rabbit hole tonight with the conspiracy theories, but you know, I'll leave that for the Sam Tripoli and Alex Jones crowd. We don't do a conspiracy talk in here. Actually, we do. Anything but the Dabbleverse we can talk about. I mean, hell, we can even talk about the Dabbleverse. I'm breaking my rules tonight. It's a late Earlverse. Oh, Brennan is on with a drunk Zumach. I mean, that's tough to go up against. Usually Kevin doesn't go on this late at night. You know, the 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time slot has been open to the Dabbleverse crowd ever since Pat Dixon is on, I believe, Rumble now. Or what is he on? I don't know. I see. Well, I mean, that security seemed a little dodgy, to be honest with you. Yeah, I didn't know they were on right now, but you know, I don't think Kevin will mind with 5 people in the stream that I'm taking from him. I've never been to a Trump rally, but it's just like I have a friend of mine. I won't say how I know them, but they are special forces. He's essentially a real life Rambo. He's killed people, goes on secret missions. I don't see him for months. It's been as long as a year, and he'll pop back up into my life. And after the first time I asked, I've never asked him again. I'll be like, "Hey, where you been?" I can't tell you. Um, and he is a sniper. And if you believe reports of this guy was kind of fumbling around, jumping from roof to roof, there's no way that he went undetected for that long. Now, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I believe pretty much everything happens as it happens. It's just a nicer narrative if the conspiracy theorist stories are true, but there's some that don't add up on this one. I mean, those two snipers who are on, what would that be? Stage right. There's no way they didn't see that guy. Um, and the buffoonery of the local cops coordinating with the Secret Service, man, there's just something fishy there. What up, Ben Jones, all the way from Australia? Um, oh, that's great, Ross. Well, I mean, I just look at how this guy got in. Now, he wasn't in the inner, I guess you'd say, the inner circle of the security protection. But how did this guy get past local law with a ladder and a rifle? Like, what? And then climbing on the roof, like no one saw this guy climbing on the building, which uh, the ladder was needed for because the roof was pretty tall. Um, I like it just like something's off here. Now I was reading on Twitter just before I went. I know it is pretty wild, sour milk. Um, that someone said that this is the grassy knoll theory shooter, that there was the real, thank God, not real killer, but the real attempted killer actually shot from behind this kid, and this kid was just the fall guy. I mean, if Trump doesn't turn his head, man, we would have seen a man's brain blow up on live television. Like, what up, John Smith? Well, I mean, I don't know if the law enforcement no-sold it. I like the term of the wrestling phrase. I just think it was the local law enforcement, and you get the feeling that like Secret Service basically tells those guys to fuck off. We got it from here. Um, so um, you got to figure that the to phrase a rat song, the lack of communication between the two is pretty startling. Uh, but I mean, it's very lucky. I mean, whether you like Trump or not, or no matter what side of the aisle you're on, it's Trump was very, very lucky. Now I can't tell. I've seen the death photo of the shooter. Uh, it looked like the sniper who was stage right from Trump shot him right in the mouth. Oh man, that's a good shot. That guy didn't miss. Um, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be definitely investigations, and that shit will be televised. That will be very interesting. Uh, well, I'm guessing ACDC. I mean, I know you know more than I do, but I'm guessing the local law enforcement's role and protection is pretty minimalized. And, I'll guess, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that the Secret Service lays out a grid of protection. This shed was apparently right outside that grid, and that's where the local law enforcement was like, okay, you guys get this area because we basically don't think anything's going to happen here, so you guys can play cops and robbers and look good. um, it's just mind-blowing to me that that was not on the walkthrough the day of. I would have thought a Secret Service person would have been like, "Hey, this shed's a problem. Someone should be on top of it." Um, well, I once again, I'm usually not into the inside job stuff, or I don't think towers 1 and 2 were brought down by munitions. But I don't know, man. There's just too many fuck ups on this to make me think this kid acted alone. What up, William Zoom? We're just talking about the assassination attempt. You know, it's even though I'm going up against Kevin and a drunk Chad, I mean, that's definitely tough to go up against. But, you know, I'm a comedy soldier. I'll do what I can. Um, it just, I don't know. Something don't smell right. Uh, I'm sure he has a take, Ross. Um, but I don't know. I mean, this does kind of reek of this kid being a Lee Harvey Oswald, and other forces pushed him into it. But, right now, uh, so far, it's no links to anything else have been tied to this kid. So as of right now, he's the lone gunman. Um, by all accounts, his high school classmates say he was pretty smart, kind of a loner, got bullied. So he kind of matches the theory of a lone gunman. Now, the strange thing is he's a registered Republican, but he donated $15 to a Democrat, I think, a couple of years ago. Uh, so that's kind of interesting. Who has a bigger ego, Ric Flair or Jesse Ventura? I would say both. I mean, Ric Flair is, he was second to Hulk Hogan in terms of the 80s and 90s. And, Jesse Ventura was a real life SEAL, and you're not a real life Navy SEAL, or like my friend who's a sniper in a certain branch of the military, and you don't have an ego. Well, I hate to say it was a deep state operation, but, I'm open to it. There's just something to me that does not add up. And I'm not, maybe, of course, a report came out today that was Iran a credible threat to Trump, was thwarted recently with Iran because, what was it, in 2020, Trump ordered the assassination of, what is it, Soleimani? However you say his name. Um, Thank you, Tony Russo. I am a soldier. I thought, what's a UDT? I don't know what that means. I thought he was a Navy SEAL. It's hard to keep up with him sometimes. But I mean, and Chad, and if you want your Dabbleverse talk, Kevin and Chad are streaming right now. See, I'll plug someone else's stream in the middle of my stream. We got a nice tight crew. Oh, okay. Underwater demolition team. Well, that's more than what I did. So, um, it's going to be interesting the next, few months where the investigations go. And I mean, I would say at the minimum, the head of Secret Service should resign. I mean, this was just botched, just like in some of those Secret Service, like the lady Secret Service, she could barely get her gun out of the fucking holster. Now I'm sure the adrenaline's pumping, but that's their gig. They're supposed to be universal soldiers, man. Uh, Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, Kip Smith, that doesn't make sense. Like, you've got Secret Service agents inside that shed, but they didn't hear someone climbing around on the roof. Like, that doesn't make. And I've been inside of those sheds, because some of my cousins have farms and they have horses and whatnot on those type of sheds. You hear anything, uh, it's like a warehouse shed. It's very hollow, the roof. So. Um, there's no way they didn't hear this guy climbing around. Um, so, oh, I see, William. Uh, well, oh, I mean, I said, Trump won the election Saturday. It's just too powerful of an image of him with blood streaming down his face, going "fuck yeah." Um, well, I think the one guy with the sunglasses, he was first up, and he seemed to be the most protective of Trump. But the one lady, the short, I don't wanna call her fat, but the heavy set the most heavy set woman, she was, like, ducking and shit. It's like, that ain't your gig to duck. It's your gig to jump on the president, and with your body, you could probably cover most of them. You gotta give credit to the main 3 to 4 guys and the one lady. They jumped on Trump, although, even when, Trump was like, you gotta know Trump has to be Jewish because his first words were, "Get my shoes." Uh, they allowed his head to pop up for a second. So at that point, you knew that the shooter was down, but you didn't know there could be a second shooter and whatnot. So not a great job by the main team to let Trump have his head exposed like that. Um, yeah, I mean, they were screaming at the local cops, and I don't know if they all, AC/DC could probably talk to this more than I can, but I don't know if they're all on the same satcoms. You would think that at least one of the head local cop would be directly linked to at least a lieutenant of the Secret Service. Apparently, from the time that those people were screaming to the first shot was 42 seconds, which is 7 hours in that time frame with all those Secret Service people and whatnot. And ideally, the local cops say, "Hey, we got a guy in the shed." That goes directly to the two snipers, and then they eliminate the problem. I'm sure there's maybe 3 seconds of communication with the two snipers going, "Is that any one of our guys?" Uh, local cops. Is that one of your guys? No. Okay. Bam, bam. Um, yeah, I mean, you got to give Trump this. He got up and he went right back into campaign mode. Um, oh, do you? I mean, listen, I'm sure. I mean, the optics weren't great. AC/DC. I'm sure she's an awesome person, to be honest with you. But um, you know, there was that one scene where all the cops, or not cops, the Secret Service were huddling around um, Trump, guarding him, and she's kind of behind one of them, ducking. It's like that ain't a good look. I, you know, I got no problem with her ducking, but like when you're Secret Service, you sign an oath to guard the president and take a bullet for him, and it just wasn't the best look for her. Like the other Secret Service female that they had, the main one walking Trump down the stairs, she had her body shielding him, and like you could tell she was ready to kick ass. Um, mean, well, now you got to figure the Democrats are fucked. Because how do you combat those images? You've got those images of Trump, blood streaming down his face, fists up, and compare them to Biden and his blank stares. And I'm not anti-Biden, but it ain't a good look. And it's frankly probably just too late to switch. I mean, I still believe that Kamala would be trouble for Trump. We know Trump struggles with women. He's misogynistic. I don't think even Trump's biggest supporters can argue that. And you throw a black female at him, and that would be tough. But it's just too late. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, B40. I just think it's tough. I mean, you train for something that in most cases never happens. You look at Bush 1 and 2. Those guys probably trained hundreds, thousands of scenarios of assassination attempts. Same with Clinton. Um, we haven't had an assassination attempt since Reagan. Um, but so you almost train for something that you'll never. So with the shorter female, like when she ducked and kind of seemed a little scared, it's like I get it, but it's not the gig you signed up for. You knew the deal. You hear gunshots, you jump in front of the president. It's easy for me to say that, but I didn't. I like myself too much to put myself in line of someone else getting killed. Hey, you can kill me instead. uh-uh. Well, I think though that the optics is what I'm talking about. I mean, Trump. What did he say about Carly Fiorina? Look at that face, and you know, I just think he would struggle. I think she would goad him she would unnerve him. But it's too late, I mean, they're sunk with Biden. I don't see any other option for them other than to just roll the dice with Biden. I mean, I once almost got into a fight with 3 dudes because one of them stepped on Lois, and they were 3 pretty big dudes. And I just looked back and go, "Really?" And the big guy started to charge me, but luckily his 2 friends held him back. I don't know what would have happened, but um, I'm not a fan of Kamala. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm a fan of Kamala, the wrestler, but I'm just saying, like, I think Kamala would be a good long bomb. I mean, right now, I don't think anyone can beat Trump. He's just, the images are too good. But it is the Republican convention, so they're getting all the home run lines without much blowback, and the Democrats will probably win a few points back in their convention. It's just the way it works. Um, I know it really is mind blowing. Um, he does deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, people forget how good a feuds he had with Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker. Thank you, Mickey. I mean, I realized I looked back at certain elements of the OJ uh, Sunday night stream, and I realized the area around Rockingham was very dark, but that's not really a area because of all the uh, outsourced security guards walk. I mean, basically, I won't say every house, but a lot of homes have their own individual security guards. So it's not really an area you walk around with a selfie stick and a well lit cell phone. So, but it does give you, I think, if you look at like the area where I think I showed the limo driver Allen Park parked, how dark it is that night, at night. I mean, it was incredibly dark. Um, so I'm glad you guys liked it. And we'll do those from time to time. Like I said earlier in the stream, I think the OJ tour was pretty easy to do because all of the main places to visit, Mezzaluna, Nicole's condo, the alley behind Nicole's condo, which is rumored to be where OJ parked while he did the murders, and of course OJ's house in Rockingham. They're all within about a 3 mile radius, 3 to 4 miles. And I would have walked on Sunset, but excuse me, that area of Sunset is not very well lit, and some parts of it have a sidewalk, some parts don't. And Lois is quick, so if she heard a car coming, she might jump or whatever. So, no, I think Jack Ruby, Queen on. Hello. Um, well, I do have the right to walk around, but that's why Lois was so good because when I parked my car that night, I parked it right outside this new mansion that's getting constructed, and I don't know who's going to live here, but it must be someone famous because they had two different security guards guarding the property, and they kind of when I was getting out of the car, they gave me the once over of like, why is this big guy just parking on this random side street? And then when I got Lois out, I mean, Lois is a great partner in crime. Um, yeah, but I think the Manson mansion, um, I think the other places that are relevant to that story are pretty far from the location. Like Brentwood, like I said, I think all the three locations we went to were within a 3 to 4 mile radius. But like Eddie Sebring's hair salon, that's on Melrose and Fairfax. I mean, I could drive around, but it is tough to drive and have the phone operating at all times. Um, Animal Mother coming in hot. Uh, So, yeah, I mean, the La Bianca house is kinda up there, the other locations are so I don't know, if I would do that. I mean, of course, I could do a Bel Air at night stream. Some interesting, um, areas of, note there. I could show you Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's house. I could show you my childhood house. I could show you where, um, Harry Nielsen's house was. I could show you where Elvis's house was, but that area of Bel Air is very like there's not a lot of people walking around at night, so I would definitely stick out. And where I live, the street Roca Place, there's no street lights. It's beyond dark. So, who knows? That could be another one. Um, there's it's LA and Hollywood. I'm sure there's a couple. What might be a good one is the John Holmes, Eddie Nash. Uh, from I could do the drive from say Eddie Nash's house to the Wonderland Murders and back. That could be. It's definitely not a walk. That's about. I think between those two locations, it's about a 5 to 6 mile. Distance. So, are you near where Vince Neil killed the person? No, Vince. That happened in Redondo Beach. So, I'm about. I'm at probably 15 miles, 20 minutes drive time there. Um, I haven't been to theme parks in a while. Um, Magic Mountain is in Valencia, Disneyland's in Anaheim, and the last time I went to Disneyland, it was so fucking crowded and expensive, it just wasn't fun. Even with the fast pass, um, it's kind of a long wait, so it was not fun for me, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, well, I'm trying to think of my old neighborhood in Bel Air. Probably would be easier to do in the daytime, but funner at night. I mean, just on Roca Place alone, I mean, my parents' house was 10500 Roca Place. Elvis's, I think, was 10550 Roca Place, which was right below us. And Harry Nielsen's house was right across the street from us, up a very long driveway. Um, and then I could show you where Stallone lived when he was porking Susan Anton. Um, yeah, I mean, the Playboy Mansion's pretty easy. It's just on Mapleton Drive. I think it's under a massive re remodeling, so I think we couldn't get past the front gate there. I mean, I think Cato would do it. We've done some comedy shows together. It was wild, Mickey, to be honest with you. I mean, um, because my parents really weren't that rich. We got lucky. I mean, I've told this story a few times because, people, they would think, "Oh, you grew up in Bel Air, you must be rich." But, my dad bought the home in, I think, the late 50s, early 60s. It was just a shack, really. And then in the 60s, there was the famous Bel Air fire. And then literally every home but ours burnt down. So, and then it was like being first up on a tech stock. Then every home that was built around us was like a huge mega mansion. Elvis's house, Harry Nielsen's house. I remember Harry Nielsen walking me around. It's one of my great childhood memories. Harry Nielsen walking me around the skeleton frame of what was then the home he was building. And then I believe later Kelsey Grammer bought it and kind of remodeled it, so it doesn't quite look the same. But Harry Nielsen's house was like the first house I was ever in where there was a basketball court. Now, I don't remember if there was a recording studio in there. I'm going to assume there was, but that I don't remember. Um, and then Kareem was my neighbor. He lived off of a street called Stone Canyon. I think James Caan lived up there somewhere. Um, yeah, I mean, Susan Anton was hot. I mean, I would see Stallone jogging with her a few times, and I think before Stallone lived there, Gloria Vanderbilt, I think Anderson Cooper's mom, she lived there. So, I mean, it's a great area. I mean, like if you were a celebrity, like Roca Place, it's a great place to live because and Connie Stevens lived, um, I think, about 50 yards up from us. Now, Barry Manilow, he lived on Stone Canyon, right next door to Britt Eklund, who at the time was porking, I think, Slim Jim Phantom from the Stray Cats. What up, Dr. Chow? Did you ever meet Tony Danza? I met him at hockey games. Um, so I have met Tony Danza. Um, yeah, James Caan, he loved pussy. Um, I didn't know Kelsey Grammer was a conservative. I don't really follow uh, celebrities' politics. But yeah, I mean, Bel Air in the 70s and 80s was really mind blowing. I mean, I lived, for those of you who, you can Google Earth this, I guess, might be interesting. I lived about a mile past the Bel Air Hotel. So, and walking, I would walk to the Bel Air Hotel every day. They had a Coke machine in the back that to me was like a nightclub when I was a young, 10, 12 years old. It was like I would walk one of my dogs to the Coke machine in the back where I guess the cleaning staff would hang out. And who else lived there? Jane Mansfield lived by us. Um, she lived on Stone Canyon, but the back end of her pool was Roca Place. So I didn't really realize uh, how lucky I was at the time to live around all these major celebrities. Um, I don't know if my dad ever played golf with James Caan. I know he played golf with James Garner. And it's actually a funny story because my dad was literally like the Rodney Dangerfield character in Caddyshack. He was a slob with money. Um, and so one day he's at the Bel Air Hotel. He gets out of his car. The valet takes the car. Valets always took care of my dad because he was the best tipper at Bel Air by far. The valets and caddies would trip over themselves to help my dad because he would tip basically double what anyone else was tipping. And but my dad had diabetes, so in his mind, constantly feeding himself sugar would regulate him. So he would always eat chocolate, Hershey bars mainly. So he was kind of a slob. Like some of these chocolate bars had been in his golf bag for months. Like he would hide chocolate bars everywhere, and he'd like wipe his hands like that if it was melted. And I went to grade school with Peter Falk's daughter, Catherine Falk. Um, so James Garner pulls up, is supposed to play golf with my dad. He gets out of the car and says to my dad, "Hey, boy, take my bags to the first tee." And my dad had a great sense of humor. So, by the way, hit the like button. Um, so my dad takes his bags to the first tee, and James Garner rolls up. Hey, I'm supposed to meet Jim Skakel. And my dad was like, "You're looking at him." So they became golfing buddies. So, yeah, I saw Peter Falk a few times picking up his daughter at Good Shepherd Grade School. Back then, I believe it was called Beverly Hills Catholic Grade School. Well, I'm not a rich kid. I mean, like I said, when my parents built the house, or my dad built the house, or whatever, it was like a it's hard to tell people this now, but Bel Air was not a nice neighborhood. It's just a hillside. And even then they hear I played golf at Bel Air Country Club. It's like, oh my God, my dad was like an OG member when, the membership, joining the membership was, I think, was like $1,200, which was a lot of money back then. But, now I think it's like 300 or 400 grand, something crazy like that. Uh, Against me, 1111111. Welcome to the stream. I believe you're new. Good morning. Do you know why your parents named you Earl? I do actually. Earl no sold his wealth to others. Oh, okay, that's cool, conservative Colin. I did have a famous grandfather. He invented basically the graphite making process. Um, so Gina Rowland's husband, Casablanca. Oh, okay. Yeah. Earl, no. Why I was named Earl. My dad's best friend was a man named Earl Ranft, Ranft, and he sadly died in a plane crash. I never met him, so that's who I'm named after. My first name's Earl. My middle name is Ranft, Ranft, and that's why I'm named what I'm named. Yes, I remember Jacques Demers, coach of the Red Wings, coach of the Canadiens. Uh, I did not know that, John Smith. I did not know that. Well, I'm concentrating on my stand-up career right now, brother. No, my middle name is Ranft, so Rant, RA, and then NFT. So I should publish a memoir. Earl the Daddy Man Skakel. My life as a fake rich kid. Who knows? I'm trying to get the streams going. I can't be writing books too. Earl R. Skakel, that is my name. Did you give me a Running Man reference? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sorry about that, Fred. I'm a little slow tonight. I need another caffeine drink. Earl is code for mutant hog. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Animal Mother. You're always on point, and I appreciate that. Legion of Skakels, who knows? Maybe I'm the new Louis J. Gomez. Skakel Fest. No, I would never put on a comedy festival. Earl, what are well, there's a lot of other Skakels. So, um, I mean, the Skakels are, my dad had, I think, 4 to 5 brothers and sisters, so they all have a lot of Skakels, and, um, I think I have, like, 42 first cousins with the last name is Skakel, um, and they have kids now, and some of those kids have kids. I mean, it's pretty, I get a lot of friend requests on Facebook, usually, I don't know why, Facebook versus Instagram, and they'll have the last name Skakel, and I'll be like, "Do I know you?" And they'll usually be like, yeah, my dad is your cousin." So it's like 2 degrees separation. No, I mean, the last time we did a family reunion, I believe, was in '78. Yes, Skakels are Catholic, where the Skakels and the Kennedys had a combined boating trip to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and it was pretty memorable. I mean, I was only 10 years old, but if you do a deep dive on my Instagram, I believe there is a picture of me steering the boat at one point. But I don't know when I took that picture. Oh, I mean, I'm not, I've got some great stories that I don't think would soil anyone's name. Um, well, the Shrivers are Kennedy cousins, so like technically by marriage, I'm related to Maria Shriver. So that's why technically I think they call it like a second cousin by marriage to Arnold Schwarzenegger. What are you, Steve Martin from The Jerk, Kongzilla? Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. Um, so, um, I definitely don't have the typical comic background, that's for sure. So there is something interesting there. But, right now I'm just concentrating on building my name and trying to get better stand up gigs, more cartoons. Audition today for something that would be very nice to get in the animation world. Of course, I can't say what it is or even what network it would be on, but it would be nice to get. Uh, oh, yeah. I mean, that woman is someone I met in, I believe, Colorado when I played Denver with Rob Schneider, like, Jesus, 15 years ago, and we've already kept in touch. Um, Hello, William Zoom. I've met RFK Jr. at both my parents' funerals, sadly. Good night, John Smith. Thank you, as always. I'm ready for the special too, Ross. I just really am having trouble locking down the location. I don't want it to be just a random theater. I could do that and the special would already be filmed, but then it just looks like everyone else's special. Like I want to do something like Billy Idol just did. Like he did a concert at Hoover Dam and it looked amazing. Now I don't have the budget of Billy Idol, but I would love to do a stand-up special somewhere along the lines of that. But you also have to make sure the sound quality is good. So, whoa, whoa, whoa. Boulder Johnny, I don't get many orange super chats. $20. Shout out my wife who is Catholic and is listening to you now. She giggles at my super chat budget. She's a fan and listening. Can we get some love for Amanda? For $20, you can get some love. Welcome, Amanda. Thank you very much, Boulder Johnny. I often wonder about people's super chat budgets. Like I see some people like they donate to Melton, Kevin, uh, Chad, and it's like a significant amount. And then someone I think donated today. Who was Brennan sniping? Just to piss Kevin off. Super chatted Gino